Tables and seats are now on sale for the biggest night in the digital video calendar, the TellyCast Digital Video Awards. We're celebrating excellence in the only awards ceremony created especially for the social video industry, with over 100 channels, shows and series shortlisted across 27 categories. It all takes place on the evening of 5th of June during South by Southwest London Week at the luxurious Londoner Hotel in Leicester Square. The guest list reads like the who's who in the next generation of entertainment. So book your table, half table or seat now and join the talent and executives shaping the content industry of tomorrow. Just visit digitalvideoawards.co.uk to secure your place now. The TellyCast Digital Video Awards, the biggest night in the digital video calendar. We'll see you there.
TellyCast.
Hi, I'm Justin Crosby and welcome to another TellyCast, where we dive deep into the world of TV and digital content with the industry's most talented and influential executives, both in front of and behind the camera. This week, my guest is actress and writer Kellie Shirley. You know her from EastEnders, In the Long Run, and many other film, TV, theatre and radio roles. And now she's here to talk about her new audio drama, Raw. For videos featuring the movers and shakers of the TV and digital content industries, just click the link in the episode description or search TellyCast TV on YouTube. Hi, Kellie. Welcome to TellyCast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. It's brilliant. Lots to talk about. And what I usually do when we get to sit together and have a chat is talk about your career, really, because you're a real Londoner, aren't you? You're from this neck of the woods. I'm not, obviously. I'm a Northerner. But
whereabouts up north are you from?
Well, originally I was born in Middlesbrough, but I grew up in Leeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you don't sound like you're from Middlesbrough. But I can hear the Leeds though.
Yeah. Well, I'm there every other weekend for the football as well, so that keeps me. Are
you a Leeds United fan?
I am. Yeah.
I'm a Crystal Palace fan.
Are you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, we can get into a bit of that later.
But yeah, I like to think of myself as a Londoner. I was born in Croydon, which isn't officially London, or kind of it's been swallowed up by London.
So is though, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I think we can call Croydon London. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
And I live in South East London. I tried it in North London, but it wasn't for me. But I like to think of myself as a Londoner, and I love London. I think we're so lucky living in this city. It's got everything. It's got such a great melting pot of people, of culture, we've got theatre, we've got film, football. It's got everything. I love London.
Yeah. And so your acting career presumably kicked off in Croydon. Did you get your first acting roles? And when did you start acting?
I got my first taste of wanting to become an actress by going to the Fairfield Halls in Croydon to watch. I'm not sure how old you are, if you'll remember Grot Bags.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And Teabag and T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm definitely aging myself now, dating myself.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
But it was that. It was a kids' programme in the 80s and 90s. And my dad took me to go and see Grot Bags. And I couldn't believe that you were paid to spray yourself green and put Rice Krispies all over your face and make kids cry. Yeah. I was like, wow, I want to do that. And that's when it all started, really. I just thought it was an amazing career to have. And then when I was old enough, I auditioned for the Brit School, which is in Croydon, and kind of it started from there, when I was getting serious about it.
Yeah. And what was your first major break then?
Well, it's interesting with like major breaks because you think this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the thing that's gonna make me, and then it isn't. But I suppose the first thing that I ever did was that was of note. Was a documentary drama, and it was about the smallpox epidemic, and this is in 2002. And it was called Smallpox. It was with a company called Wall to Wall, who do really brilliant TV productions. It was for the BBC. And I was 16 and I just thought, this is gonna be it. This is gonna make me. And of course it wasn't. It was a documentary drama. But I had the best time on it and I learnt loads. But I suppose the thing that was a springboard for me and ended up doing EastEnders afterwards was a brilliant miniseries called 20,000 Streets Under the Sky, which was a book by Patrick Hamilton. It spans 10 years from 1920 till 1930. I played a prostitute called Violet, and it was just a really gorgeous drama, and it had an amazing cast in it who've all done amazingly well. Sally Hawkins, who's gone off to win an Oscar. Zoe Tapper, who's one of my really good mates, who's doing Grace on ITV. Kathy Burke was in it. I mean, there's so many brilliant actors, and it was made on a shoestring. It was for BBC Radio, BBC 4. That was the thing that kind of lots of people still talk about it today. And the producer for that, Kate Harwood, ended up doing EastEnders, and she brought me along when she started after like 9 auditions.
Right. Okay. And how about writing as well? I mean, have you always been a writer as well, or has that just come relatively late on in your career?
Yeah, I've always had that burning desire to write, and having that imposter syndrome about me. I didn't think that I had loads of ideas buzzing around, and just didn't think that I could make it happen. But the older that I've got, I've realised there's that saying, isn't there? If you want something done, you've got to do it yourself, kind of thing. I don't think it's quite that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I know the sentiment is absolutely true. Yeah.
And well, you doing this podcast, it's about you creating your own projects, your own material, and making stuff happen. So when I had that light bulb moment, and you know, I love being creative, and just waiting around for someone else's script just was like, why am I doing that? I can do it. I can write. I can create a brilliant part, for me and for people that I really want to work with, who I think deserve to be elevated and who I want to work with. And so that's what I did. I started writing.
So did you learn how to script write or screenwrite, or is it just a case of, no, I'm just going to get, I've seen plenty of scripts in my time, so I can kind of, make it up as I go along. Is that your approach, or did you have formal training?
The first script I wrote was just not rubbish, but the way it was formatted was just absolutely rubbish. And I remember I sent it to a producer guy who I'd worked with, Chris Hall. I went to Chris Hall, and he worked at Kudos at the time. And he was just like, Kelly, this is a mess. Like, you've got a good idea, but it's just not how we read scripts. And so he said, you're really lucky because you're in the position where you do read lots of scripts. So just look how it's formatted. Look how short the scenes are, or long the scenes are. And, you've got it all to hand. Whereas I just kind of wrote a bit like how my Auntie Sue writes, without any like full stops or commas, or it just all came out like a big vomit, like, and I thought, oh wow, this is amazing, and gave it to him. And he's like, you've got work to do. And so it took time to like hone it and learn, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Raw, and bring it right up to date in terms of this amazing project that you've written and you're starring in, and it's an audio drama. So just explain to the audience, those who haven't heard about Raw, and why you wrote it.
Well, again, a bit like you, where I wanted to, in lockdown in particular, I needed to have my creative output. I needed a fix of it because I just wasn't getting that. Everything just was quiet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was just dead.
You needed to make your own, well, not entertainment, but you need to stimulate your own mind when everything else is, when you're locked in. Yeah, it was a bit, let's not think about it too much again.
It is like a weird dream that happened, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And, lockdown, that was one of the like silver linings, I suppose, of it, because obviously it was so fucking awful.
Yeah.
That some good came out of it. But also in that time of lockdown, my daughter was becoming the same age as me when something happened to me, and it kind of all opened out, and I couldn't, how can I say this? Like, it opened up a can of worms, basically.
Yeah.
And I needed to write about it. My husband said, you should write about what happened to you, because it's affecting you. It's affecting relationship because I just went into a very dark place.
Yeah.
And he said, you need to deal with this. And he, in fact, Phil's an amazing playwright and screenwriter. And you know, he's really helped me as well. I feel like I've got confidence, even though I sound like I haven't got confidence right now. It's just talking about it makes me get all like, you know, what was the catalyst for it? But something really bad.
Yeah.
And I wanted something good to come out of it, basically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I, like I say, did a vomit draft this time, and then started to dig deeper into it, make it into a film to begin with, because that was what I knew best was film and television. And then I sent it to a brilliant woman called Kate McGowan, who is an actress and a producer. And then she said, I think Spirit would be a really good company for you to work with, because their projects are about, you know, human connection and that ethos, what I was saying about having something good come from something bad. And that is what they kind of are all about.
Yeah, content with a purpose, essentially.
You said it so much better than me. Yeah, content with a purpose. And so, yeah, so they said, you know, they do lots of podcasts, and they had a light bulb moment of, well, why don't you create it as a podcast drama? And I suppose when I was thinking about podcast drama, I was thinking things like, you know, BBC, The Archers and things like that. And I was like, oh, not sure that that's really what this is. And my prejudice about it got kicked in. And it was only when we spoke about it more and more, I was thinking, well, yeah, podcasts are the thing at the moment, aren't they? And they're really changing the landscape of creativity. And
well, there's no one there to give you notes, you know, especially when it's such a personal story. It's a personal story about abuse and revenge and terrible situation that you went on when you were younger, and being able to produce this yourself, essentially write it and produce it along with Spirit in the way that you wanted to do it, is certainly the way to, you know, to get that story across the way that you want to do that. Yeah,
that's it. And television is great, but you're in just production hell just for so long, so many years, from experience from my husband and the projects that he was trying to get off the ground. It would just take so long, and it felt like it was now, it needed to be written about now. And I was reading about statistics from lockdown about children being, you know, in the family environment for a long time, and how much abuse, you know, it just went through the roof. The statistics around that time are just so harrowing. So it felt like that was an epidemic within itself, and we should be talking about that.
Yeah.
And so it's like everything kind of aligned. Like I need to get this out of my system and write about it. It can have a positive impact because it could get other people talking about things. And then we collaborated with a brilliant charity called the Children's Society, who just fantastic for having lots of resources for children who have been through a similar situation, and can have therapy and all sorts of things. They're just a fantastic charity. So it just felt, again, we were doing something that was meaningful from drama, and a campaign drama, I suppose. That's something that we were talking about. Things like, what's that brilliant drama that everyone was talking about earlier this year?
Mr. Bates versus Post Office.
Yes. Yeah. That, you know, how that got everybody talking about that situation, and it wouldn't have happened, and, you know, them getting the results, and I know that they still are, if it wasn't for the power of TV and
real life drama, essentially. Yeah. And it shows the impact of that. And that's obviously what eventually you're hoping that Raw will affect change. I mean, what sort of, I mean, are you looking for any specific change as a result of creating this? I mean, obviously, eventually you're hoping this will become a TV project. And I know we can't mention any of the companies involved, but I think there are conversations happening from a TV perspective as well. And the audio drama is available on all podcast platforms already, isn't it? So everybody can go and have a look at and listen to that. And we'll play a little clip in a little while as well, so you'll be able to have a listen to the trailer. But is there any specific change that you're really looking to achieve from this, do you think?
I mean, yes, because at the moment, as it stands, only 2% of cases get a positive outcome. Lots of the times the cases just fall flat on their face for whatever reason. And also, like, by the time you go to the police and it gets kind of logged and it becomes a case, it can take up to like 5-6 years before that even gets in front of a jury or go to court or whatever. And that's 5-6 years of trauma for a child and the family. And then it often gets thrown out because they just you don't want to go through with it, you know? Yeah. And
so it's only 2% of cases are actually prosecuted effectively.
And they're really, really minimal.
Yeah.
They're like 12 months. And that would be like a really good outcome. And then the person would get, you know, probably 8 months, 6 months. What does that say? And you've ruined someone's life, you know. You've ruined someone's life. It's something that doesn't go away once you've said about it. It's something you think about. And so I think the convictions need to be harsher. And I think that getting into court needs to be quicker.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of work to be done in that area by the sounds of it.
Mm-hmm.
And presumably you felt this was a like really cathartic experience for you. I mean, did you feel that way, you know, in terms of getting this all down on paper and then actually producing this as an audio drama? I mean, what was that experience like for you?
It has been cathartic, definitely, because I was a mess, and I still am to a slight degree. Talking about it, it's such a weird, surreal thing. Well, what I would say, though, that the audio drama isn't like a carbon copy of what happened to me. I needed to have some distance from it, you know. Yeah. And so I've taken things from my personal experience. So there's lots of authenticity in it, but it isn't exactly, because I do find it very difficult to talk about.
Yeah, of course.
So, this is the first time that I've really spoken about it as well, you know. And I'm in my 40s now, which is just mad. So what people will be listening to, but also it is challenging, but it's not all doom and gloom. I want people to know that as well, because it's a hard ask to ask people to want to tune in and listen to, you know, like you say, challenging material. And it is that, but it's so much more. And it's about family, it's about friends, it's about music, it's about running away from your fears, my love of London, my love of Belfast. It's whole mishmash of lots and lots of different things. And they're just little bite-sized 20-minute episodes. They're not, you know, like you'd have to commit an hour to it. They're just small.
Yeah. Okay. And tell us about the cast then as well, and everybody else involved in it, because there's a BAFTA involvement as well, isn't there?
Yeah. So BAFTA, I was on this BAFTA Elevate cohort, which is, so every year they have a different group of people. And so with my year, it was all actors who felt that they were hitting a glass ceiling for whatever reason within their careers. And they'd, you know, done quite a lot of work, you know, but for a reason, it just was like not kind of like getting up to the next level. And so they chose me, which was nice. And lots of other brilliant people. I think there was about 21 of us in our group, and from all sorts of walks of life, all different ages, all done very mixed things within the career. With BAFTA Elevate was just absolutely fantastic for me, because it kind of like made me feel like I had that stamp of approval from BAFTA. And it was a group of actors who were from underrepresented groups who all felt they were hitting a glass ceiling within their careers, even though they'd done lots of different things within their career. And we were given lots of different mentors and went to different round tables. Like Stephen Graham did one, and what's his name? Shane Meadows did one, just talking about their careers. And it just, that light bulb moment I was talking about, they were saying about creating their own work. And that is what has made them have careers that are, have longevity. They're making material that is meaningful, and they're spreading the love between all their friends. So yeah, BAFTA Elevate made me realise that as well as lockdown. All these things were happening. Yeah, so BAFTA, when I made this and I sent it to them, and they were very complimentary about it, and they said, oh, we'll give you our space to launch it, and we'll do a Q&A, and we'll live stream it internationally for all our BAFTA members. It was amazing. Like their support, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
They've continued to nurture me and to support me, which is amazing.
Fantastic. Well done them. And let's have a listen to the trailer from Raw.
Raw, a podcast drama based on real-life events.
Here he is, the birthday boy.
He'll be the last one standing.
He won't be standing.
No, don't go. Please, Daddy.
Come on, climb into bed.
Mummy, lock the door.
One mother's mission to deliver justice for her daughter.
I want to rip him up. Watch his blood flow out of him.
A story about family, heartbreak, and revenge.
You keep away from me, you mad.
You keep away from me.
Right, Kelly.
Yes.
We've got to talk about EastEnders, of course. You're well known for playing Carly Wicks in EastEnders. What are the most memorable moments you had from working on the show? Want to get ahead in digital-first content? The Drop is the go-to newsletter for industry professionals, delivering insider news, trends, and insights straight to your inbox. Navigate the fast-changing landscape of digital-first production, distribution, and monetization. Sign up now for free at dropmedia.co.uk and stay informed with The Drop.
First of all, we're talking about my memory 20 years ago. That's when I
Doesn't
started.
feel that long ago.
Does it not?
No, it doesn't to me anyway.
It's being played at the moment. There's EastEnders Vintage that's on the TV, and I'm 21 in it. And I just think, oh my God, 20 years is just like gone like that so quickly. But also I look so young on it, and it's not fair. But memorable moments. Okay. I mean, I do remember the auditions because, like I was saying to you, when I worked with Kate Harwood and she was saying that she's going to go off and be executive on it, and, would I be interested in EastEnders? I was like, of course I would. And then she's like, okay, you have to audition, you have to do these workshops. And I literally went in like 9 times, like I said, and I would audition with different dads, different mums, really quite famous people as well. And it was just like really interesting. And I remember it so well. Yeah, the workshops for it. And I wanted it even more and more and more every time I would come back to the next stage. She made me fight for it, which was good because then I really cared for it. I wasn't giving it on a plate,
Yeah.
And then, when I met Phil Daniels for the first time, and it just clicked. And I'm such a massive fan of his. And then talking about football, and anyway, I remember meeting the family when we were put together for the first time. Lots, yeah.
So as well as drama, you've been involved in comedy as well. You've got a role in The Office, a Christmas special in The Office.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. And I was looking at this. So remind us what the role was in The Office.
So it is, like you said, the Christmas specials, Blind Date. See, that ages us as well, Blind Date, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so I play a contestant. He's called Kim, and she has to pick between Ricky Gervais, obviously, from The Office. Bobble from Big Brother, who I think was in the first or second ever Big Brother. And Howard from the Halifax adverts.
And this is in a nightclub, isn't it? And that's when David Brent's in the, what's his getter? He's in fancy dress, isn't he? He's got...
Is it Shagadelic Baby?
That's right, yeah, the Shagadelic Baby, yeah.
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's 20 years old now.
Yeah.
But it's still much love, which is just great. I mean, my mum and dad love it still. Thanks. But yeah, that was an amazing job. I loved it so much because everybody was talking about it, and then, because people weren't sure if it was real or not, back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was shot in that documentary style.
Yeah, and it hadn't really been done before, had it?
That's right.
And yeah. But yeah, that was a good job. I forgot what the question was now, because I've gone off on.
It was really about comedy and drama.
Comedy,
I mean, what do you prefer?
I prefer, it depends on the part really, and who you're working with. And I do like being silly, and I do find lots of things funny. I suppose comedy would maybe slightly more, just because I'm cheap, I suppose. I like to get a laugh and a clap, but I do like those like proper snot acting roles as well.
Yeah. If you were to return to any of your TV roles, what would be the standout one that you'd like to return?
Oh, hands down, it would be In the Long Run. It was just the best job. I mean, Bill Bailey was my husband. Idris Elba created it. He was the boss. And such an amazing cast. Jimmy Akambola, Madeline Appiah, who's so funny. And we just had honestly so much fun. And we got to have my hair all permed for it. I had the shoulder pads. It was very, very nostalgic, the whole job, and the music in it, all of that fantastic 80s music, the shell suits, Baby Sham. It's just a lovely pocket of nostalgia, and they did it really, really well. And there hasn't been anything on it on TV like it since, I don't think. Yeah.
So, looking back over your career to date, then, can you share with us any embarrassing behind-the-scenes moments then that have cropped up that you're willing to talk about?
Well, most recently, so I've had a baby who's a year old, and so I started working on Casualty as a psychiatric liaison nurse. And so Ezra was 6 months old when I started, and I was breastfeeding. And my mum would bring him into my dressing room to obviously feed the baby.
Yep.
And it's on television at the moment. I'm going to be on it until March, I think. But you can see my boobs going up and down, like from when I've fed the baby. And maybe you can't even have that on this. I don't know. But anyway, when I'm watching it now, I can tell it's really bad, because it is a bit carry on in places.
You're going to get people looking now, you realise that.
But also I had to wear cabbage leaves underneath my outfit because you get very sore. Yeah. You're a machine.
Yeah.
We're animals, and that is part of what I was. I was an animal.
Yeah.
And I had to wear these cabbage leaves, and not everybody obviously knew, or the crew, that I was feeding my baby. So I just stank of cabbage the whole time, and underneath the lights. And I wanted to say, it's not me. Like, I've got, so that was embarrassing.
So going back to EastEnders, you met Danny Dyer, presumably, via EastEnders.
I didn't.
You didn't cross over?
No. Okay. So Danny, I worked on a film called Run for Your Wife, which was a really famous play in the 70s and 80s. And that was made into a film in 2012. And I met Danny and Denise Van Outen, who's become good mate. Again, that was a really good job, lots of fun. And then Danny ended up doing EastEnders after me, and is my brother in it.
That's right, and it also features in Raw as well.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I was
sorry.
wondering,
Yeah, that's the
I was
segue.
wondering how the connection came about. So
Yeah.
it wasn't EastEnders actually. It was Run for Your Wife.
Run for Your Wife. Yeah, we became friends there. Kept in touch a bit, and when I wrote Raw, I wanted the casting to be as authentic as possible. You know, with the voices, with the feel of it, and Danny just fit like a glove. And I think he's such a brilliant actor, and he gave up his time, and he's so good in it. I think he's amazing.
Yeah. So what's the best piece of advice you think you've ever received in your career?
Well, there's two. There's that thing, don't let the bastards get you down, is probably one of the best pieces of advice, because this business is brutal, as you well know, and you have to be so thick-skinned, and it can be very difficult to navigate. And
especially when you're creating your own projects and taking those out to the market and making those happen. You need an extra thick layer of skin, I think, for that.
Yeah, of course, because some people don't care that it's your story, some of your story. And I'm sitting in front of them and they can be quite dismissive, I suppose. Have been. Now that I've actually made it with Spirit, people are starting to listen and get in touch, and lovely comments about it. And not just, you know, from an industry perspective, but I met somebody last week who got in touch with me where something had happened to her, and she said to her, I really need to. I did know her. It wasn't like somebody completely random, but she said, I listened to Raw. I thought it was really well done, and I haven't actually spoken about this very much, and I'd like you to meet me for a drink. And we met for coffee, and it was very emotional, but it felt like something good had come from it.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it, and she was saying that she just was pleased that something had been written about where it was from a perspective that, you know, I know I can delve into it in a different kind of way that other people possibly can't.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what she, I don't want to say enjoyed, but got out from it, that there's a truth in there.
Well, you obviously saw directly a positive impact from what you've done, and that must be incredibly rewarding. You know, it's obviously difficult journey you've had to bring this, you know, out into the open in the form of an audio drama,
Mm-hmm.
and to see, you know, that reaction from people and showing what a difference that's meaning to them must be amazing.
It was everything. it was a lovely moment. It was a really, obviously heavy, sad, and we've reconnected because of it. And I mean, how brilliant is that?
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward then, Kelly, obviously fingers crossed for Raw going forward as a TV project, and we'll be keeping our eyes peeled and our ears out for good news in that area very soon. What other projects can you tell us about? You're obviously on screen at the moment in Casualty, you mentioned. Yeah. Anything else that you can tell us about that you're involved with?
I've got about 4 other projects that are bubbling away with a couple of other TV production companies, and a couple of other podcast dramas. Because now that I've written it and know how to write an audio drama, and now I haven't got that stigma of the Archers that I had, which is nothing. No, obviously the Archers is great, and it's got a massive fan base and everything, but that's been done.
And you couldn't really imagine what an audio drama was until you've actually produced it, right?
And in fact, some people, I was going to say lots of people, but some people who have left feedback or got in touch about it have said that they thought, you know, audio drama was going to be quite stuffy and for a more mature audience, or they just didn't understand how a drama could be on the airwaves, and how Raw manages to be engaging and, you know, get you by the heartstrings. And it's got some amazing music in it as well. But Maverick Sabre, he did some music for it. Thank you so much to him, and to Left Wing and Cody as well for doing the score for it. And to Will, who works for Spirit, he's wrote some music for it as well, and he has been.
Well, he's TellyCast producer as well, so he gets a shout out. Kellie, thank you so much for coming on and chatting about Raw and your career, and I wish you all the very best of luck. It's an amazing project, and I'm sure it's going to get made and into a TV drama, and we'll see that, coming to a different audience as well, perhaps a wider audience as well. So thanks again for coming on TellyCast.
Thank you.
Well, that's about it for another week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. TellyCast was produced by Spirit Studios and recorded in London. For videos featuring the movers and shakers of the TV and digital content industries, just click the link in the episode description or search TellyCast TV on YouTube. We'll see you next week for another show. Until then, stay safe.